I'm leaving.
It's December 2023, and the long-awaited 2.2 update has released after a 7-year wait. But what if I told you that the update was actually supposed to drop 5 years earlier? Don't believe me? Well, let's head back in time and find out what the heck happened. RobTop had just posted version 2.1. Players everywhere hopped on to mess around with the new features like the spider game mode. Back then, it was the longest we've ever had to wait for an update, taking a year and a half, which seems pretty pathetic compared to 2.2. But
1.4 years to build 2.1 and 2.2 to take 6.9 years.
It was a great relief when RobTop came out and said that there wouldn't be a huge wait like this ever again. Update 2.2 would come out soon. Hype grew as little previews were shown, and that holiday season, RobTop dropped a new spin-off game on the app stores that used some of the 2.2 features we were waiting for, showing that the update was almost ready to go. The next year, we got this little puzzle that revealed the upcoming new level song.
It wasn't that.
It was really fun to solve. Translating the word bucket to Swedish and adding the first 2 letters of this phrase got you the artist's name. And stacking these little things on top of each other got you the Internet Explorer's logo. One of Heintitz's songs is called Explorers, Puzzle Solved. It was cool and all, but that would be the last look into the update we'd get in a while. As 2018 went by, progress on 2.2 appeared to slow down. One of RobTop's closest mods came out in the summer and revealed the reason why it was taking so long. The developer was struggling with the new Versus mode. It was a huge feature that basically let you race against others to beat a level in-game. For just some solo indie dev, trying to tackle all the server nightmares and programming challenges this task would bring must have been very tough. However, to assure us, RobTop himself later came on to the livestream of the YouTuber Chris Credible and said that he was working his butt off trying to get the new version released by around Christmas of that year.
I'm just saying, Rob, okay? Take your time, Rob. Take your time, Rob.
Dropping 2.2 during the holidays would be genius, as everybody's getting cash or gift cards for Christmas, and you bet these kids would buy that one mobile game that everyone at school couldn't stop talking about after the epic update. But as the 25th rolled around, people were opening presents hoping maybe RobTop left the 2.2 underneath the tree, but he didn't deliver. But he said around Christmas, everyone said. It should be here any second now. It's just around the corner, right? Going into 2019, there was still no update. Why? Well,
What?
RobTop revealed what he was busy doing instead of packaging up 2.2 for release.
For real, bro.
An entirely new mode for Geometry Dash, where you break away from the classic side-scroller and fully control the character, like a Super Mario game. It was new. It was exciting, but it was worrying. I mean, an entirely new game mode? That's gonna push development time for months. And
Dang.
he wouldn't stop there, adding more and more crap to the update. Let's add a tool that lets you stretch objects. Let's add sound effects in the editor. Let's add an entire program that builds the level for you.
Problem with 2.2 is it's a bad cycle. I add stuff and then it takes long and expectations get higher, so I add new stuff.
And then it takes longer, and expectations get higher, and the vicious cycle continues and
2.2
continues.
in a
and it
nutshell.
did for years. Just compare all the stuff added in version 2.1 to version 2.2,
That-
including features
Nah,
he
bro.
later cut from the finished thing. We'll get into that later. Now do you see the problem? When the community was breathing down his neck,
When?
nagging him about the wait time, RobTop would always promise not to add any more stuff, but he'd go back on his word many times, chucking in crap whenever ideas came.
RobTop, look at this cool filter idea.
I like that.
RobTop, look at this cool orb I made for my fan game.
That's mine now.
RobTop, do you maybe think you could add 6 to 2.2?
What?
See what I can do.
Ah, who left that there, huh? Maybe that's a sign that you should subscribe, huh? Now, after years of development, RobTop had all these unfinished good ideas, but not many polished things to release. 2.2 was like a massive house with a huge foundation, but with no finished walls or roof over it, it couldn't be sold. The features in the update were an incomplete, buggy mess, and all the crap clashed with one another, amplifying the chaos in the code. Half of the update was actually leaked back in 2019
What?
when RobTop updated some of the spin-off games and accidentally left some 2.2 code in there. How you forget to remove that sort of stuff is beyond me, but whatever. After some genius programmers spent months picking the leak apart, they made a working 2.2 private server out of it. And by working, I mean, it could launch, it could play, but it would act weird and chaotic. There were so many little tripwires that would cause the game to crash or do strange things. I played on it once to try recording footage for a video, and it would just break like every other time I opened the editor. It was safe to say that 2.2 was far from release.
Welcome to Visible.
What?
On the 8th anniversary of Geometry Dash's release, RobTop surprised everyone with a 2.2 sneak peek. Progress was being made, but the level shown in the video wasn't Explorers as people were expecting from that
It's
teaser back in
Dash. It's
2018.
Dash.
It was a secret second level with a secret special song by MDK. That's the guy who made Finger Dash's music. Explorers was still in the works, and RobTop announced that another sneak peek for that level would release soon. For the time being, people kept on waiting, with their hope regained. Meanwhile, the Impossible Game 2 was being built. If you didn't know, RobTop completely robbed the idea for Geometry Dash from the Impossible Game, made before he even started game dev. Putting the two side by side, you can tell exactly what went on. And while Geometry Dash went on to become incredibly popular, the Impossible Game died out. But now it's back, and ready to steal GD's fanbase with a game that actually gets updates. I find it funny how in its branding, the game is advertised as the original rhythm platformer, a little jab at RobTop. But did it stand a chance against the GD giants?
No.
No. The game absolutely flopped, with the launch trailer getting as many views as my crappy old videos. It's funny though, because even though Geometry Dash is left without new stuff, the community was actually doing just fine. What appeared to be a dead game on the outside was growing on the inside, with RobTop's YouTube channel reaching 10 million subscribers.
Now 14.1
That was more than
million.
Minecraft, Nintendo, or any of your favorite creators.
Dang.
And he posts like twice a year. The community managed to keep itself entertained despite the lack of updates.
That's update
The 2.1
2017.
editor was more than enough to crank out
Hundreds
new
of
exciting stuff every
items.
month. Creators were constantly pushing the limits of the game and wowing everyone in the process. And by everyone, I mean everyone, like people outside the community too. I was surprised when my brother, who has nothing to do with the game, recognized Change of Scene by Glee, which goes to show how we ourselves are making Geometry Dash known across the world. Content creators were keeping the game alive through new challenges, fun videos, and hilarious streams.
I don't care! Yeah!
Programmers were hacking the crap out of the game and essentially making their own updates. Small game devs were building their own fan
Mania
games
there.
based off GD. And of course, RobTop's 2.2 progress updates have always kept people around. You know, in another update made to GD Lite, RobTop accidentally left in all these 700 icons.
But
he
now,
was
like,
adding to the
majority
game.
of
They
them,
were
you can
critical
only
to see
get
when
them
they were
in
released, 'cause
the
lots
actual
of them were
Geometry
community
Dash.
made. But like, dude, hide your shit better. What's going on?
I don't know.
2022 rolled around, and RobTop said that he planned to drop the update that year. Hype grew as people began theorizing when it was going to release, and they found the perfect date, February 22nd, 2022. I mean, come on, 02/02/22 on a Tuesday?
Nah.
Now that's the perfect time to release update 2.2.
Now we're
Keep
just
in
talking about
mind that
Tuesday
by
now, bro?
this point,
Really?
we've been waiting more than half of the game's existence
Over
for
5
this update,
years.
as in all other updates combined.
Even GD
and so
Line.
it had better come out on the 22nd, but of course, it didn't. Excitement rose up and sharply fell down, causing disappointment
Dang.
around the
Everyone
community.
was
As
furious.
pessimism took hold, February 22nd, 2222 seemed like the most reasonable release date.
Bro,
We
Rocket
got
would have been
another
dead
sneak peek
before
later
he
that
even turned the year
This time it was
2100.
actually for the level Explorers, the map we had been waiting for the entire time. RobTop tends to drop the new version a few months after the level is revealed, so the update has to be around the corner, right? Well,
No.
He was still busy dealing with the 2.2 dumpster fire. Bug fixing and polishing all the crap in the update was taking forever. The sneak peek was seemingly just something rushed out to keep the starving community busy for a few extra months. Why do I say that? Well, you can tell by the build quality of the level. It was weirdly unbalanced and poorly synced with the music, and many complained of how gimmicky it was. Like he was trying to cram all the new 2.2 features into one level at the expense of the actual gameplay experience. Of course, the young community with their rose-tinted glasses on ate it up, so RobTop's sneak peek sort of did its job, getting people off his back for a bit. But as 2023 rolled around and we entered year 6 of the wait, players were as hopeless as ever, with some losing faith entirely, claiming it would never come out. Many
No way.
RobTop fanboys kept backing him, saying he was trying his best and working his hardest, and on one hand, it is easy to defend him, as he's a solo developer for an indie title. Have you ever tried coding 20,000 things for a massive video game?
No.
On the other hand, why was he trying to code 20,000 things in the first place? Oh well, there's no use ranting, even though it's very fun. And anyway, in this little story we've been exploring together, 2.2 was truly around the corner, as a catastrophic event would light a fire underneath RobTop's seat and force him to get his act together in
For limited time of
The
public.
freak, bro.
In May, the game was unexpectedly taken down from the Google Play Store, meaning if you didn't already have it on your Android phone, you couldn't play it at all, unless you pirated it, but let's not get into that.
What does it mean when you
RobTop knew
pirate
this was
it?
gonna happen, because
you
he had
hacked
updated
your
the
way
game
in?
in so long, he was late to adding some new security features Google demanded. Version 2.2 already had them, and the guy RobTop spoke to at Google said that he had a couple months to release the update before the game was taken down, so he thought he had time, but then Google said screw it and took it down anyway, locking out an entire chunk of the community. Remaking the security changes in the current version would be a lot slower than just finishing up 2.2, so RobTop was essentially forced to log in, cut the bullcrap, and complete the update. Community hype was at an all-time high, with RobTop dropping the third and final sneak peek for the update. For once, when people said 2.2 was around the corner, it actually seemed like it was true, especially as in August, RobTop had this to show us. A release date.
October of
Or
2023.
month. But this was more than enough for the community, which had been starving for this update for years. And this wasn't some random Discord message or Twitch chat screenshot. No. RobTop was announcing publicly to the world, to his entire 10 million strong audience, that the update was coming. And all 10 million of his fans were holding him accountable as he got right to work. With such a short time window, he was forced to cut out major parts of the update, mainly the level explorers and the versus mode. It's funny because if you remember, the versus mode was the main reason the update was delayed for so long, and now it was being entirely cut from 2.2 to get it out ASAP. That's why it's grayed out when you try to access it now.
I mean, you're not
Unless
lying.
you're watching this video in the future when the thing is actually released. To that, I'd like to say hello from the past. How's the year 2034? To add more fire underneath RobTop's seats, Apple dropped the iOS 17 update in September, which absolutely screwed up the game to the point that it wouldn't even launch.
Dang.
Like on the Android side, the key to fix it was only in 2.2. So if you played on an iPhone or iPad and updated your device like any reasonable person would, you would be completely locked out of the game until RobTop finished version 2.2. The mobile community was in shambles. It was okay though, because the 2.2 update was just around the corner, right? Right? I'm getting tired of saying this. As October rolled around, signs that RobTop wouldn't be able to deliver began to show. It was revealed that the new main level, Dash, still hadn't been built yet.
What?
The snippet we saw in the first sneak peek from 2021 was basically all that we had. Even after cutting down the features, bug fixing was taking forever. And the fact that RobTop had recently switched servers only made the crappy situation even more crappier. Speaking of servers, they were about to light up in flames when the update dropped, with everybody hopping on. Many wondered why RobTop chose to announce.
Make sure you guys like and subscribe so you guys don't miss out on any other my Kobe videos. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out.